They spent centuries selling us the Renaissance as this magical, sudden explosion of genius that pulled Europe out of 1,000 years of darkness. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, the rediscovery of the classics, the birth of modern art and science. The story goes that Europe finally woke up and became brilliant again. It's a beautiful, romantic fairy tale. It's also mostly a myth. The Renaissance was overrated, limited in scope, and built almost entirely on foundations that were already laid during the Middle Ages they loved to mock. Let's destroy the myth. First, the term Renaissance itself is a 19th century invention. It was popularized by historians who wanted to glorify their own era and make the Christian Middle Ages look as bad as possible. They needed a dark period to contrast with their enlightened one, so they created the myth of the Renaissance as this sudden rebirth after centuries of ignorance. In reality, the Middle Ages were far more advanced than we're told. Medieval Europe invented or perfected the heavy plow, the horse collar, windmills, mechanical clocks, eyeglasses, and universities. Gothic cathedrals are still some of the greatest engineering achievements in history. Monasteries preserved and expanded ancient knowledge for centuries. The so-called rediscovery of classical texts during the Renaissance was exaggerated. Many of those Greek and Roman works had already been studied and copied in European monasteries. A lot of the knowledge that reached Italy came through the Islamic world, where Muslim scholars had preserved and built upon Greek philosophy and science. The Renaissance was mostly a phenomenon of a few wealthy Italian city-states, Florence, Venice, Rome, funded by rich banking families like the Medicis who wanted to show off their wealth and status through art and architecture. It wasn't a pan-European awakening. Most of Europe continued living and working as they had for centuries. Many of the great Renaissance ideas weren't new. Humanism, the study of classical texts, and interest in the natural world were already present in the High Middle Ages. The Renaissance simply got better funding and better publicity because it happened to coincide with the invention of the printing press. The myth of the Renaissance was heavily pushed as during the Enlightenment and later periods by people who wanted to portray the Christian Middle Ages as a time of pure superstition and backwardness. In reality, the Renaissance was an important period of artistic and cultural flourishing, but it was not the sudden burst of genius they make it out to be. It was built on the shoulders of the Middle Ages they love to dismiss. The real rebirth wasn't as dramatic as the textbooks claim. It was more like a very well-funded marketing campaign by Italian elites. Drop your hottest take in the comments. Note 2. Was the Renaissance overrated and mostly a myth, or was it truly the birth of the modern world? If you want more forbidden history that destroys the lies they taught you in school, smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you in the next one.